Welcome to the Worst of the Riot podcast. Coming up, how long can your boss promise you a raise without giving you a raise?
Also, ladies, if you have this set in your house, men won't be able to resist you. And more on the Worst of the Riot podcast.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot, Radio U.
One of the most popular dating apps in the world may be about to experience a massive change. Bumble, well known for being the app where women message first, is about to possibly change that. Their CEO says, it's obviously been our signature, but it feels like a burden for a subset of our customers today.
I assume he's referring to the woman.
You assume she's referring to the women. Just because she's a CEO doesn't mean she can't be a lady. Yeah, she says the women. She's what she's referring to.
The ladies.
The ladies. She said, what it means to be an empowered woman today is that you feel in control of your experience. And so I guess that doesn't necessarily mean sending the first message anymore, but it used to.
Interesting.
Yes. Do you feel that is implying that it's been a burden because it's traditionally the man's role to reach out first on many? That's usually how it works. Was it a burden for you? Has it been a burden for you to have to reach out first? Make the
For
first
me?
move? Yeah.
It was not
a
in my
burden?
dating app days, no. Because if you're a man and you don't reach out,
Mhm.
guess what happens? You don't meet anybody.
Nothing. Unless you're on Bumble, but that's all about to change. So right now they are about to possibly do a relaunch in New Zealand and Australia first, where they are going to test different options for how they can change this. One idea they have is providing pre-written messages for women to lead off with instead of having to come up with them on their own. You know, like apparently how they do with Bumble BFF, where they have AI generated first messages. If you're trying to make friends, they'll extend that out so that women can make the first move with the help of AI, not have to think of things on their own, because thinking of things on your own is kind of difficult to just strike up a conversation with a perfect stranger.
See, I think Bumble needs to keep it the way it is.
Why do you say that?
I think it's a good character builder. I think
Yeah.
it's a skill people should be able to have as a way to start a conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's important for men and women
Uh-huh.
to be able to strike up a conversation with anybody.
And so you're saying if there's not at least one app out there making women go first, then it's a skill they may never build.
Like last night,
Yeah.
it was funny. I was having a conversation with my roommate and my girlfriend, and I asked E, I was like, do you think, because we were watching a TV show where this person in a couple said, I bet I could pick up anybody at the bar they were at that time. And of course, they approach a random stranger. Some catastrophic thing happens because of the TV show. But I asked E last night, I said, if you had to, do you think you could walk up to a guy at the bar and like get their number? Of course. And she said no.
Really?
Which obviously is inaccurate.
That's
'cause
surprising.
She's cute and she's
Yeah.
a girl, so she could automatically get it.
You don't need to say anything. You just kind of stand there, make eyes, and I feel like that's all you need to do as a woman. I don't know. I've never been a woman. I don't know.
She said that she doesn't really approach guys. She wouldn't feel comfortable because they've always approached her. So she lacks, my own girlfriend, lacks that communication skill.
Yeah.
Therefore, making her less versatile.
She should have gotten on Bumble. Who knows how things would be different.
So you need that. You need that to be able to walk up to anybody and talk to them. Whether you're seeking a relationship or just trying to meet them, I think it's an important skill to have.
Yeah. Because, I mean, as a guy, we didn't have much choice. Unless we got on Bumble, we had to develop the skill. And
some guys never developed it.
No,
And you know who
try
they are.
as they might. Try
You know who
as
they are.
might.
The stories you love with the opinions you hate. The Riot, Radio U.
There's a new, a little mental health tip that's going around on TikTok. Isaiah, see if you think this sounds like a good idea. It's called the 90-Day Dinner. It is a a little practice that has been devised, the term coined by Becca Havian. She is actually currently earning her master's in mental health counseling, so she has some expertise on mental health. The 90-day dinner is the practice is if you're going through a difficult time, a good example would be, let's say you just went through a breakup, then you set a date about 90 days in the future that is, and you organize this with your friends and or family, and you're like, this is a day we're getting together for a dinner. We can go out or we can get, whatever. 90 days from now, we're doing a dinner. And then that 90 days from then, so when you have the dinner, it gives you time to reflect and look back and be like, oh, look, things are different now than they were 90 days ago when I was so upset about whatever the thing was that I was going through. You think it makes a lot of sense?
So you're thinking you go through a traumatic experience, you need to schedule a dinner for 90 days in the future to see how everything changes.
Yes.
Interesting concept. You'd be really hungry by then.
Yeah, that's true. I like the idea because it gives you, she doesn't mention this at all, but this is something that we are big supporters of here on the Riot, big proponents of, and that is having something to look forward to. So even if you're going through a difficult time, a dinner might not be the most exciting thing, but it is attainable versus trying to schedule a vacation or something like that 90 days in the future. You schedule a dinner that you can be excited about for 90 days in the future, and then you can just count down the days. It gives you at least something to look forward to. And then the addition is it can serve as a little milestone, that 90 days in the future. Whatever the thing you went through is, you made it 90 days. And if you can make it through 90 days, who knows how long you can make it. And again, what she says is at the end of those 90 days, the feelings that you experienced when you called the dinner may still exist in some part, but they're definitely not going to be as intense as they were 90 days ago. So it'll be a chance for you to look back and be like, hey, wow, we made it a long way. It wasn't that bad, actually, when you look back at it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea. I never am going to be against scheduling dinners out in the future for a good reflection period.
Yeah.
So I'm for that.
And you might be wondering why 90 days. But when she explains this does make a lot of sense. She says basically that 90 days is one of those time periods that feels simultaneously very far away, but also not that long of a time. Like when you get to the 90-day dinner, you're going to be like, wow, I can't believe it's been a whole 90 days because it's going to feel like such a short time since you called the dinner. But when you're calling it 90 days, feels like, 3 months from now is what, June? It's
June 14th.
Yeah, right in the smack dab in the middle of the summertime. That feels so far away right now. But by the time you get there, you're going to be like, wow, I can't believe that March 14th was only 90 days ago. I can't believe that I went through that breakup, I got fired. I can't believe whatever happened 90 days ago. I can't believe it was that long ago. So I like the idea. I think it actually could be a helpful thing. Granted, I hope I never have to do this.
Me too.
I never want to experience trauma ever again.
Oh, hi there.
This worst of the Riot.
Crank that up.
Radio U.
You are in the midst of Fired or Hired. You can chime in with your thoughts on this one at 8772 Radio U. Isaiah, give us a quick rundown of the situation we're looking at here.
Our buddy here took a job. He thought he was being a little bit underpaid, but he wanted the experience, so that was okay. And then he was working under someone who ends up retiring. That person leaves, he takes over the role. He had a meeting with his boss saying, I'd like to raise my pay since I'm taking over this new role, new responsibilities. That boss says, heck yeah, let's do it. Let me talk to my boss and we'll get that lined up. The head man in charge is blowing our buddy off here. It's now been 9 months. He's reached out multiple times about having this discussion. Since then, he's been doing this job for now like a full year. He's been working at the company for over 2 years. He doesn't know what to do. He feels as if this meeting is never going to happen. And now he's working, doing more work for the same amount of pay that he was doing before.
Yeah, when he was already underpaid.
Yes.
Some good thoughts coming in here. Tim at 8772 Radio U says, I've had a similar situation happen to him. He says, I say leave the job. You've already worked there for 2 years anyways. And we just said this on the show the other day. That's the recommended amount of time when you should start looking for another job if you want higher pay. So that's good advice, I feel, from Tim. Dakota also says, put in your 2 weeks. They'll probably come back with an offer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Little
I like
standoff.
that. Yeah. But what if they call your bluff and like, okay, go ahead.
Dakota also says, would obviously have another job offer ready
Yes.
in case they don't.
We have somebody else who texted in here who says, walk up to the boss and tell him you need to talk. If they do not answer or cooperate, leave the company.
Boom.
Whoa. Now I
like hearing that.
that's grabbing the bull by the horns.
That's how you do
right
it.
there. But it makes sense. It's tough. 9 months. You're more patient than many people, I would say, especially nowadays. But if you think about it from the other perspective, right? From the boss's perspective, it's not going to be a priority for him the boss is not going to want to, he's got a million things maybe he's dealing with. And one of the top things he's not thinking about is, oh, when can I do that meeting so I can pay that guy more? But so you have to make it a priority for him. And probably to me, the best way to do it does feel like lining up something, at least having something as a possibility, and then going to them and saying, hey, you've been blowing me off for 9 months here. I need that raise you were talking about.
Yeah, for me, it feels like he's likely avoiding what he sees as a tough conversation that he doesn't want to do, or else because if he really wanted to give you the raise, he would have done it 9 months ago.
Yeah.
It would have been an exciting conversation. But this also shows me, it feels as if this really shows how the business is operated too. If he's not willing to have this meeting with you, then this probably isn't somewhere that you want to work long term anyway.
Yeah. If he can, in 9 months, if you're keeping following up. But also, if you're doing, it sounds like he was doing it on about a monthly basis, saying, hey, what about that raise? It feels like you're making it a little too easy for him to blow you off. Again, you don't know I don't know how busy the company is, what the boss is doing, but you don't know all that he's got going on. It just might not be something you email him once a month. He's like, yeah, let's get to that. And then he forgets about it because he's doing other stuff that he sees as more important, which does show that you're not a priority as an employee. But still, you can let that slide a little bit, but you've got to force the issue.
Yeah, I would say ask one more time, toss it out there, and then if he blows you off again, then it's time to put your 2 weeks in. Start looking for other jobs, and then maybe that'll really, really push them to give you that raise. But even
That'll
then,
light a fire.
But then I think too, if you putting in your 2 weeks makes them give you a raise, is that is that a job that you want to stay in?
When do you want to pull that card again?
Yeah, exactly.
How many times?
How many times are you going to pull I'm putting in my 2 weeks card? And so if they aren't willing to give you the raise, unless you put in your 2 weeks, unless you literally say you're going to quit, then you probably should look for a job elsewhere anyway.
And one of the things I like about fire to hire is it's way easier to say, when we're doing it from the employer's perspective, just quit.
Just quit. Why not just quit the job?
When it's a relationship, I'm like, well, I don't know. But when it's fire to hire, I'm like, get out of there. There's a million other jobs. You might not be able to find another person to date.
The stories you love with the opinions you hate. The Riot Radio U.
I got a little dating hack here for the ladies. This one's
They need them.
That's right, they do. This one's been going around on TikTok, where if you're a woman and you got a guy you really like, what you want to do early on in the dating process, probably the first time he comes over to your house, he's coming to pick you up or whatever, he's going to come inside. What you're supposed to do, as if you don't have enough going on already, is you're supposed to bake cookies shortly before the guy comes to pick you up. The thought is not that you give him the cookies and he can eat them, although that also is nice. You could do that. You could share. But more importantly, he needs to be able to smell the smell of cookies, freshly baked cookies, when he walks into your house or your apartment or whatever. And then he always associates that smell of cookies, which obviously is a great smell, with you.
That's a great idea.
You think that would work?
I love that idea.
Yeah.
I'm a big smell guy.
Uh-huh.
I love good smells.
Yeah, it seems like it would definitely work on you.
It would for sure work on me. I love sweets too.
Uh-huh.
I love brownies and cookies. That's like my go-to thing to do on the weekends. Just bake some sweets.
Yeah.
So if I walked into your place and it smelled like cookies or brownies, oh, right away.
Yeah.
Be a huge plus.
And then if things don't work out, like if he turns out that he sucks, then think about the revenge factor later on too, that for the foreseeable future, every time he smells cookies, he's going to be like, oh, I miss Melissa.
Yep.
She was so, oh my God.
She smells so good.
Yeah, that's right. I was also thinking you could do this with cookies. You said brownies. Also, cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon rolls would be great. Now, if they're picking you up in the afternoon, then it kind of be like weird. Like, why'd you just make cinnamon rolls at 3 in the afternoon? But nevertheless,
if it smells like it, I'm not questioning it.
Yeah, that's right. It's just like, yeah, I want cinnamon rolls.
Like I walk into a woman's house and just whatever smells in there, it smells incredible. I just assume that's how it smells all the time. You could have just baked cookies. I would assume it smells like that all the time in there.
Yeah. So here's my other question then. We're men. What could we have our home smell like when a woman walks in for the first time, and it would have the same effect? Is it also cookies, or is there something different?
You know what the answer is.
No, I don't.
Sawdust. Wood.
Every time she walks into a Home Depot for the rest of her life. Oh, Isaiah, he was such a good guy.
Pine.
Yeah.
Should we go oak?
Mm-hmm. Mahogany.
Maybe freshly cut grass.
Cedar.
Cedar.
Cedar's the way to go.
Cedar's pretty good.
You just make your house smell like cedar.
Yeah, you have a lot of manly smells like that probably.
Mm-hmm.
Teak wood, another one right off the rip.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that smell is, but I know that it smells good.
Yeah. I like the sawdust idea. But
Sawdust.
Freshly cut grass is good. She's like, did you just finish mowing the lawn? No. I just always smell like that.
So my house always
Yeah. The smell of spring.
leather.
Yes. I don't know. These are all smells that smell good. They smell good to us. Would a woman hearken back to them and be like, man,
Amber.
every time I smell it, it makes me think of him.
They're just so much better. They're just so much better.
So much. Well, we're just so much easier manipulated, I believe.
If you just make it smell like cookies. Every time I walk into my girlfriend's bedroom, she has a candle lit. It smells incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I walk into my house, it smells a little bit like my dog.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do you hang out here? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's not helping your cause at all.
The stories you love with the opinions you hate. The Riot Radio U.
You official on TikTok. Isaiah, answer this if you can. You ever been in any legal trouble?
I have not.
No?
Actually, no, I've been pulled over before.
Oh, that doesn't count.
Well, then no. You never let me be exciting.
What?
You never let me be exciting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, do something exciting. Why don't you get into some legal trouble? Jeesh.
That's not exciting.
That would be fun. It would be so good for the show if you got into some kind of...
If I got arrested?
What if you... Not arrested,
What if I almost got arrested?
Yeah. Or, yeah, if you just had to appear in court for some reason.
Or maybe they thought that I was the bad person.
Yes. What if you get framed?
That'd be the best.
That would be so good for the show.
That'd be so good.
Yeah, if you get framed or like blackmailed or something like that.
Or maybe I'm like walking down the street when like a robbery happens and then they thought it was me just because I was there.
That's a good question. Though I was thinking walking down the street and you're the victim of a crime.
Oh, I'm a victim.
Yeah, that'd be great for the show too.
I depends on what it is.
If you had
I don't want to get beat up.
Would you like to? Have you ever had to face an accuser in court?
I've never had to. No.
You've never been in court at all?
Never been in court. No.
Actually, me neither. Not that type of court, anyways. But you never even been in traffic court, have you?
Mm-mm.
Dang, you're so clean cut. You're so wholesome.
Somebody has to be.
Yeah. But I imagine for me, I've never been in real court either. But if you walked in there, I mean, let's say you walked in and you saw Judge Judy was your judge. How'd you be feeling about that?
Well, I'd be on TV, so I'd be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, but
I'd be ready to put on a show.
Yeah, I guess you really ham it up.
Mm.
I'm sure Judge Judy would love that too. That would really make her rule in your favor. I don't mind seeing Judge Judy from time to time. It's interesting, but I would be afraid if I was going into court and Judge Judy was the judge. She's so like, she seems angry.
Well, you got to win her over off the rip. She's always more against one person every time. You got to be the one that she's for.
And it's the person that is making accusations or whatever, or trying to defend themselves, and they have no paperwork. They have nothing in writing. They have no evidence whatsoever, but they're just like, that person let their dog bite me or whatever. Well, do you have the bills from when you went to the hospital? No, I don't. Well, then how am I supposed to know how much? Like that kind of thing. Yeah, it's easy to get on her bad side. And that's intimidating to me. And what's crazy is basically many people I feel view God this way, that if you had to picture God, he's a judge in a courtroom and he's upset. He's upset before you even walk in. Forget about when you walk in there and he starts looking over the list of stuff that you're in there for. That's not something you want to go through. But this is difficult to imagine, but I know there's judges that are like this, that you walk in to the court and the judge is actually like kind of sympathetic. The judge is actually pretty patient with you. It's not like Judge Judy at all. We all have stuff in our lives where if you had to go before a judge, it would not be, you wouldn't feel very confident about it. And Jesus, though, is that judge that he's not upset with you before you even walk in the door. Jesus is ready to give you another chance, ready to believe in you. He cares about you. He loves you. And so while he knows that many of the things that you've done that you're not proud of, that you're not excited to share, that you wouldn't want to go before a judge, particularly an angry judge, and deal with, Jesus isn't going to hold that over your head like so many others would. Jesus is going to be there with you every single day, still loving you despite your faults and the mistakes you've made. If you're ready for a relationship like that, to see Jesus in a whole new way, get it straight from him. Say, hey, God, I want to know more about that. I want to know more about who you actually are. Come into my life, change things for me, and help me to see myself not as somebody full of mistakes and all that, but as somebody who's loved. Because that's who you are. You want to know more? Check out RadioU.com/free gift. It's the Riot.
Thanks for watching the worst of the Riot. Since you made it this far, you might as well like, subscribe, and check out riot.radiou.com for even more Riot.